Make my screen brighter. Okay. Just going to give people a minute and see if anyone can join the live. Might just be me. I feel like I've gone live a few times at the time. I pick like weird times. I can't pick like a 3 or 3:30. I'm like, it's like 3:28 and I should go live. That's what my brain says. I actually mostly just think like, oh, I've got this, and this done. Okay, now it's time to go live. That's how my brain works. I go through my list of things that I do in a day. And I'm like, oh, I've done all these things. Now it's time for fun. Good afternoon, Nicole. Good afternoon, everybody. So, hi, Erica. Hi, Omnis. Just wanted to jump on here and chat with you guys. It's been a week. Gosh, I've been very productive today because for some reason I just woke up this morning like it was a work day, and it's not. So I got a chapter edited, got several outtakes written. Hi, Allie. And was like, I'm going to get on live. And you want to know what? It's a good day because I don't have to mow the lawn. It's always just going to make it a better day for me because I hate mowing. I hate mowing so much. I'm sure that was clear in the last live, but I don't have to do it today. I hear people mowing their yards. I don't know if it's like this where you guys live, but where I live, people are like obsessed with mowing their yards. Like the grass is like 2 inches tall. I need them to calm down. Like enough with the mowing. The yard is okay. It's July. Like it's probably dead if you don't water it. So, I struggle with that. People and the mowing of the lawn. Oh, it's like constantly. And I have allergies. So like you mow your grass and all the pollen crap gets in the air and it just drives us with allergies crazy. Just cut it out. That's my rant for the day, guys. I have a neighbor who, no matter what is happening in the weather, her lawn service is out. And they even come like if it's like winter. They still mow her lawn in the winter. And I need her to find some chill, mostly because I'm like, how do you have the money to waste to pay a lawn service to come out in the winter? I live in the Midwest. We get snow. The grass is dead. Move on. But yeah, they come and they'll like shovel her yard too. So I guess that's cool. But like there's neighborhood kids that you can pay to do that. And I promise you it's cheaper. But whatever. That's my rant. So I'm going to stop talking about the lawn. Almeda, I am having a great day. Thank you. Nicole, yes, Nicole is being woken up by people mowing their lawns at 7:30 on a Sunday. Like, people. It's Sunday. Calm down. Go get a hobby if you're like waking up at 7:30 to mow, or get a mower like I have that's battery operated and you can't hear it. Be nice. Just be nice, people. Omnis is doing it right. They have no grass. You're the real winner here. Hi, Andrea. Joni, you are welcome. There are 2 outtakes today. It was a 2 outtake day. Just got back from camping. Amanda, good for you. I discovered as a child I'm not a camper. My type of camping involves like a house that you rent, because I like showers and I don't like having to run to the shower. Or like I'm really bad at like, you're in a cab, even when you're in cabins or a camper or something, and the bathroom is far away. Inevitably, as soon as I go inside to go to sleep, I have to pee, and then I have to get out, walk to the bathroom. It's not my thing. But people who it is your thing, I say that. I have been outside more this summer than I have ever because I have a small child who likes to be outside. And as you can tell, if you can't tell, I am pale. Pale as all get out, you guys. I have used so much sunscreen this summer because I normally stay inside, but now that I have a tiny child, I go outside. Not really sure how I feel about it. Your neighbor mows 3 to 4 times a week. Those people, like, they need to listen to this live because they need to calm down. You need a new hobby. It's not a thing. You're killing those of us with allergies. You do hate camping too. kids really wanted to try it, so you sucked it up. Yeah, I feel like I'm going to have to be on that boat later in my life. Oh. See, mowing at 8 a.m. People need to cut that out. There is no need to do that whatsoever. Okay, I'm going to stop talking about mowing and we can talk about the books, or we can keep talking about mowing because I could clearly talk about this some more and how much I do not like people that mow early in the morning or like 5 times a week. The question is, do you really not want to be in your house that much? Like, it's nice inside. It's hot outside here. Like, it is legitimately hot. And even if it's like in the 80s and you're like, oh, this is okay, the humidity makes it not okay. See, look at my hair. I was outside this morning at a farmstead with my child and my husband, and look at my hair. Like, craziness is happening. Why do you want to be outside? Crazy people. Sammy can't join. That's okay. Loving all the chapters so far. Cliffhangers have been evil, but much. Okay, see, we need to talk about cliffhangers again, guys. Thank you, Sammy. If you get to listen to this later, thank you for your comment because you brought it back to the book because I was prepared to talk about mowing. Cliffhangers. We have different definitions of that, you guys. Haley's point of view, where it ended with Eric holding her in his arms, and then she passed out. Casey, we differ because I do not think that's a cliffhanger, because I will tell you right now, originally it did end on a cliffhanger. It ended in the paragraph before where the bomb went off. To me, that was a cliffhanger. Haley getting attacked in the previous chapter, cliffhanger. But Haley and Eric being together at the end of the chapter, even though she passed out, like you knew it was okay, she was with him, that's not a cliffhanger to me. So we have different definitions of cliffhangers, guys. That's what I've discovered sometimes when I post a chapter and people are like, the cliffhanger. And I'm like, no, originally the chapter ended here and that was a cliffhanger. So yeah, it's probably that I know where the chapter originally ended. But sometimes I'm like, guys, I really didn't think that was a cliffhanger. Are you writing down your point of view? My point of view on what? We're talking about lawns? No, I just ranted my husband about the lawns. But yeah, I did not think Haley's chapter ended on a cliffhanger because she was with Eric by the end. Silver scarves, those are something new we didn't hear about. Well, we haven't seen fairies really interact much with vampires unless it was planned. So I feel like that's a Phelan invention. It's actually not a Phelan invention. It's been around in Frey for a long time. If they know they're going to be around vampires, or like it's just that they wear silver in general. So it's actually Haley's great-great-great-grandmother's invention. So it's in Phelan's family. But yeah, they have silver scarves. Because yeah. I don't think it was a cliffhanger either. Thank you, Levon. We agree. I did not think it was a cliffhanger. Definitely the chapter before, when Haley's getting attacked by a vampire, that was a cliffhanger. I mean, you know that she's going to be okay because she's the main character. But it's still a cliffhanger. Because you're like, what is going to happen? And then I hope you're all caught up because, there were vampires and 3 supernatural groups fighting and explosions. It was crazy. You may have answered this before, and if you did, I missed it. But where are Jessica and Shanna and Ray's Takira, or do we care? Do we care is the question. They are not in Tennessee, I will tell you that. We're not going to hear about them. They're with their mates elsewhere. But where they are is not important to the story because they're not with the brothers and they're not with any of the allies. So it doesn't really matter. But I haven't answered that question. No one has actually asked that question. So have no fear. Reading the book for the millionth time. Okay. This question I have seen before. So Marcucius says his last name is O'Sullivan. When I was editing, but when I actually just edited this chapter today, good timing with your question, Andrea. It was not clear that fairies have names when they come to the human realm. That's not their name in Foray, because if they come here, they don't necessarily want people to know who they are. Kind of like the Hakira, when they come here, they don't want people to know who they are. So if they come here, they lie about their name. Well, fairies have identities here because they can't lie. So Fabian's name in the human realm is Marcucius O'Sullivan. Now, in the edited chapter, I have put in what his name in Foray is because that was not clear at all when I wrote it. But yes, I didn't change his name. That's just his name when he comes to the human realm. It's Marcucius O'Sullivan. So that's why he says his last name is O'Sullivan. I didn't change it. His last name in Foray is Walsh, and they are well known because they are the royal family. But if he comes here, he doesn't want people to know his true name, especially like if it's somebody who knows a lot about fairies. Like vampires have pretty good knowledge of Foray and like who's in charge because, well, they would like to eat them. And they've been around for a while. So they have alternate identities for when they come here so that they're not lying, but so that people don't know their real name if they don't want them to know. So Haley having Arian and Aiden's blood in her body now feels significant and something Haley would have an opinion on. It's significant because they're selfish. Like to share their blood to aid in her healing is a big deal. Is it going to do anything to her? No, it's not going to do anything to her. Other than it helped her heal faster. Will we hear more about the other couple who was in the ribbon and disappeared? Which couple? There have been 2 ribbon strands. One is our original couple, which we absolutely will hear about. And so, yeah, the first couple was our original Haley and Eric. So we will go back to them. We will see them again in our original reality. The other ribbon strand that we saw was 3-year-old Haley. And yeah, I have an outline for them. The couple before Haley and Eric. What are you talking about? Oh, the couple in book 1 that they say. They could be. I could see how they could have their own story, but no, they're just off doing their own thing. Yeah, they're still around, if that's the question. That couple is still around. They're hiding because they had so much attention on them, and the male partner didn't want that attention on his mate. So they're not dead or anything. They're just not around. They're kind of off doing their own thing. Sorry, I misread that question when I read it. Now that I read it, it makes more sense. When the OG Haley visited for the second time, it sounds like there were still issues with Cassandra happening since this is in 3 years. The question cut off. Okay. Will we hear more about this in future books or even an outtake? So the problems, they're getting better. They are better at this point in our original Haley's reality. But yeah, and I mean, we get into some of that. And when it comes out to the bigger group, what truly happened to Elania, it's going to be in EJ's book, and our original Eclipse are going to bring it up to the Hakura, like, and Alexander's going to be like, I have this vague memory of, saving my siblings. And so they're just kind of saying, it doesn't match up. So it's not that exact scene is not going to be written, but we will see that there are still, like, Cassandra does get better, but at the same time, you're dealing with fairies. So there are things that come along with that where you can't hide your motivations from them. She can't hide how she feels about Haley with the kids. She can't hide it. Even if she doesn't say anything, even if she's nice, like they're gonna know that there's a tension there. They can feel how Haley feels. Like, so yeah, that's just a whole thing. But we will get into that once we get back to our original reality. So that new supernatural from a couple chapters ago, the Kitsune. What are those? Oh, Google them. They are so cute. But yeah, the Kitsune it's kind of like a wild fox. They're a bit like fairies. They're mischievous and they like pranks. They can be evil. Kitsunes can be evil, but they're more often seen as like tricksters. But they have like a ton of tails. They can have a ton of tails, and it's rumored that the more tails they have, the more powerful they are. So each time they get a new tail, they get stronger. So they're cool. I like kitsunes. But Google them. They look super cool. It's not like a thing that I made up. Like the Hakura and the Hood. It's actually a thing you can Google. In Lexi's book, when Eric, Haley, and Chase and Lexi go to karaoke and Haley pops back to the office to do something naughty before they leave, but it never says what she does. There is an outtake planned for that, Andrea. I have one. It hasn't been requested. It's on my personal list. But I do have I actually put that in there having in mind of an outtake to post here about what she did and when Eric finds out what she did. Why does the ring want them? Want who? The kitsunes? Why does the ring want the kitsunes? Is that the question, Amanda? Are we going to see a kitsune wolf hybrid? Will we? Was there a reason they were brought up? We'll see. Yes. Okay. Why did the ring want the kitsunes? Well, they're rare. First of all, they're very rare, and they managed to kidnap a royal kitsune. The kitsunes have been in hiding because they have been being hunted. Because they're like, unlike other shifters and stuff, like if a human saw a fox with a bunch of tails, you're not going to think that's normal. Like if you saw a bunch of wolves, you're like, oh, well, they're wolves. So kitsunes are cute, Amanda. They are so cute. But they've kind of been in hiding. They mostly stick to like forested areas in the East Coast. So they want them because they're powerful. And like they were kind of dumb about it, to be honest, because if they had let him stay strong, if he had gotten stronger, I mean, they didn't because he could fight back and be stronger than them. But if they could have convinced like a kitsune to be on their side, like the more tails they grow, the stronger they get. And they're pretty cool. So I bet Dylan doesn't even know about a kitsune. The wolves don't know that kitsunes are real. The Hakura do. The question was asked why Haley doesn't. And they do. It's because they're, like I said, they're rare. So like the royal family does know about them, but like they're not causing a problem. They're not really doing anything that the Hakura can help them with. They're not reaching out for help. So they're kind of leaving them on their own devices unless they want their help or they were being actively hunted. The Hakura didn't know until they found this guy that they were even being hunted. So, he will so want one. Oh, don't you just know Dylan wants to collect all of the supernaturals. I don't know if anyone has noticed this about Dylan, but he likes Pokemon and he does like to collect things. So Dylan is going to want one. What are the kitsune's power? Obviously shapeshifter, but what else? They can kind of be sorceress, like they can cast some spells and stuff. But mostly they're really strong and they're mischievous and they're really fast. I read another book where kitsunes had the ability to shapeshift into other humans. Is that something you would adapt? No, I don't like that. I have that being a super special thing that Bexley can do. And like there are some charms that can do it temporarily, but Bexley can keep the form of somebody she likes as long as she wants. So I'm going to keep that as something specific to Bexley and her chameleon power that she has. But yeah, just keep, I mean, the kitsunes were mentioned for a reason, y'all. I rarely often mention something that doesn't come up later. Dylan's got to catch them all. He does. You guys, wait till he finds out that kitsunes are real. Any Dylan in any reality will be so hyped about that. But yeah, the kitsunes are, just remember that. Maybe remember that guy's name. Maybe remember all those things when we jump back to our original reality. But yeah, I'll just say there are a lot of kids running around, guys. A lot of kids, a lot of mates gotta happen. A lot of books. A lot of stuff. So with Leah, they said they were waiting on a wolf. What were the other supernaturals? So who they found were witches. They found witches, warlocks, and a few demons in that ring. Hi, Ramonsa. But yeah, they were waiting on a wolf to come back. Witches need ditches. Yeah, actually, the reason the witches and the warlocks didn't do it is because they're raised in the human realm. So to them, like, that's not cool. Like, rogues they've lost their minds a little bit. Like, they're raised in this realm, but they've lost their minds a little bit. So the witches and warlocks were like, no, we're not doing that to a kid. But rogues are just kind of a little crazy because they don't have a pack. So that's why they were waiting for them to come back. Is this wolf one we've heard of before? What wolf? The one they were waiting on. Oh, they were just rogues. No, they weren't anybody that we know. So rogues, there's a group of them that are helping the ring. And they're doing that because they don't, like, some were given a choice. Like, you can join us and help us do things until you go crazy and you die, because all rogues eventually go crazy and die. Or you can become a part of the ring and they'll put them in. So when they bring wolves in, they basically have a ring pack so that they don't go rogue and crazy. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, it was no one significant. They were waiting on for Leah. The other day gave a tidbit that one of the ringleaders talked in book 1. Was it during what? Was it during the combo Haley overheard when she was knocked out after removing the charm from Vanessa? I'm not going to tell you where it is. I'm not going to tell you where it is. I will say that this person, the one that we saw, and Wolf heard, Haley saw them, can lie. So look for somebody who may have been acting a certain way that could have been a different way. Because vampires can lie, and so can demons. So, look out for those. Will there be a rogue alpha in the ring? There is an alpha, because you have to have an alpha to have a pack. So there is an alpha. There are alphas involved. So what does the ring want with Millie? Is this just because she's powerful? So the reason that they wanted Millie is because they want Alpha Hammond involved in the ring. So in book 1, his dad was a part of the ring, and in this one, his dad was a part of the ring. The difference was his allies knew that. His allies knew that his dad was a part of it. In both books, he didn't want to be involved. Millie was taken because he was trying to stay away from her. But, I mean, obviously it wasn't working. She had their child. But as soon as they had her, it was her safety being guaranteed as long as he worked with them. And that's why he started doing all this stuff, and he got very deep into it. And then he was separated from his mate. His wolf was making him go crazy. And then she did die, so he totally snapped. Because he was doing something he didn't want to do for her. Because keep in mind, Millie is a witch, so her pregnancy is 9 months. So she was gone for a long time, and he was, sending rogues over to Sophia, wanted to take over her pack. All that stuff was going on. Like, Millie had been taken a while back. But that's why they wanted Millie. It's because of who her mate was, and the fact that they were separated, and knowing that together they would be very powerful. So wanting to separate them and wanting to use her to get to him, because they knew that even though he was trying to stay away from her, he's a wolf and they are very possessive. And he's specifically an alpha wolf who is very possessive. So someone else getting his mate, that's like a hit to his ego, as well as his possessive side as a wolf. So since Millie and Hammond had a girl, will she take over Millie's coven or Hammond's pack, or will she do either? She's not with either right now. So we'll have to see what happens with Millie. She could do one or the other. She could do both, or she could do neither. So she will know where she came from and who her parents were. But what she does is gonna be brought out in book 2. Ryan calls Millie a piece of work. What did that mean? Millie is an interesting dichotomy of a person, kind of like Hammond. She's never felt like she's belonged in anywhere. She's more powerful than anybody that she's ever met or been around, because both of her parents are super powerful. But she knows that she's not the daughter of the people who raised her, but she never could get an answer about who her parents were. And so she's pretty angry. So, she's angry, and then she meets her mate, and, he's coming around, but also leaving, and she's kind of a mess. So she wasn't quite a dark witch, but she was kind of somewhere in the middle. Like, she could get mad and do some dark magic, but she mostly stuck to other types of magic. But that's what he means by she's a piece of work. Ironic, because it's his half-sister. Which book will we hear what happens to Millie and Hammond's daughter in the OG reality? I think that outline point could go in either EJ or Cassie's book. So we will hear about it shortly. Just haven't decided which book it's going to fit best with the flow of it. So either EJ or Cassie's book is where we find out what's going on with her. Oh, I saw someone on Facebook say Alexander's book is next. It is not. When I originally started this series, it was going to be, but then I started the Facebook group, and everybody was really interested in Cassie and EJ's story. And then, Alexander's book, the outline is already crazy intense. So I think I probably would have ended up doing an EJ and Cassie book, because there's a setup that is going to be done for Alexander's story in their books that would have been way too many flashbacks in Alexander's book with everything else that's going on. So that's what's going on there. Did Eric go to Special Alpha training in Raised to Cura? No, he didn't go in the original reality either. Chase did. But no, Eric just spent a lot of time training to be ready to take over at 18 because he wanted to. He's a very driven person. Chase did not go to Special Alpha training in this book because he met Lexi. So he was thinking about it, but then he met Lexi, and he was already the alpha. So he didn't actually need to go in the original reality. It was kind of, for him, it was kind of a way to get away from everything, because he didn't actually, Chase is a good guy, but he didn't actually want to be married to Sophia, and he just wanted to go away and have it be done. So that was part of why he went. I thought Chase went because Eric did. No, Chase went because he was offered a spot, and it was offered to him at a time where he just wanted to get away. Also, there's nothing wrong with training harder and faster and all that stuff. So that's why Chase went. He didn't go because Eric went. In the first book, when Haley saved Seed from rogues, was that a failed ring attempt? As after this week's update, yes, it was. It was a failed ring attempt. Because they intended to ransom her back. They just wanted, really what they were doing was scouting his territory for weak spots to see if they could get in and out with Sayid, who is his niece. So they knew if they could get his niece, they couldn't keep her. But if they could get her, they could get some of the Omega like pups and stuff and maybe keep off his radar. But it failed. So but yes, that was a very good catch. No one has caught that. But yes, it was. And again, it was just to kidnap her and ransom her back because they knew they couldn't keep her and keep things a secret because, I mean, it's one of the most feared Alpha's nieces. They just wanted to see if they could get to her and get her out of there. You guys, I'm like looking at the time going, you know what's so nice? I don't have to get off here to go mow. I'm way too excited about it. But does anybody have any other questions? I'm trying to think of other stuff we can talk about. So we're almost to Haley's birthday. We're going to have Lexi's reception. So will we see Dylan's parents and Ray's Takura? No, we will not see them. They serve their purpose in our original reality, and that's why we saw them. But we won't see them here. They're still going to be off doing their own thing. But I would say, trying to think through my outlines. We're closer to the end of this book than the middle. We've got Lexi's reception, Haley's birthday, and then you guys. Let me just say the end of this outline is like, what doesn't happen? It's going to be, I'm not going to lie, like some of this is going to be really hard to write for me. So, get your Kleenexes ready. I'll probably have them as I'm writing. I don't think it's been mentioned, but what part of Tennessee is Eric's pack? And it has been mentioned, not in the book, but we have talked about it on the Facebook page. And see if I can find the thread where we talked about it. Scrolling. I'm gonna have to come back to this, Amanda. I'm gonna find where we talk about it and tag you in it. Yeah, I will find that. It's gonna happen. We haven't heard about Travis much in Ray's Takura. No, we haven't, and we didn't hear about him really much in the first book with Haley and Eric. But Travis is still around. He's a senior in high school, so he's around. He's just not really in Haley or Eric's orbit much. So he's more around in the outline I have for Emlyn from this reality. But yeah, he's just not in their orbit too much. But yeah, we've got craziness coming up at the end of this book. When fairies share their lifespan with wolves in the pack, if something happens, does the magic die with that fairy, or the wolves still live longer? So they will still live longer, because they will still, that light was still shared. So they'll still live longer because the light was shared, so the lifespan was shared with the pack. So Missouri seems significant. As like a significant headquarters, or at least for the main station for the ring. Is it because of the location of the state? Is it because of the location of the state? So we don't know that that's where their headquarters are. We know that there's something fishy going on there. And the vampires of Missouri were obliterated. So they're not a problem in Raised Secure. But yeah, there were packs and stuff that weren't doing so well. I mean, it is heavily implied that they are deeply involved in the ring, and they are in like the center of the country. So it's not a bad place for things to go in and out, but not necessarily where the headquarters are. We'll have to see where those are later. But let's see what to say about that. In which book, Evasive Fairy? In which book? Which book about what? Oh, which book are we going to find out about the headquarters? Oh gosh, you guys, I don't know. So it might come out in Alexander's book, but at the same time, there's a lot going on in Alexander's book. So it might have to wait until Keaton's book to come out where the headquarters are. We're going to get an answer to the person from book 1 who's involved, that only had that only talked and we didn't get their name. That doesn't mean that Haley doesn't know their name. She does. But we'll get an answer to who that was and is in Alexander's book. So might be the epilogue of his book. I haven't decided. But that answer will come to that in that book. We'll have to see how everything goes. But yeah, the headquarters and stuff might be discovered in Keaton's book or Alexander's book. It'll be one of those two. What is the order of the books coming up? Alexander, Cassie, or EJ, Alexander. Gosh, I can't read, you guys. Whew, okay. The order of the books coming up is EJ, Cassie, Alexander, and then that's a great question. So I'm not sure if I'm going to take a break after Alexander's book and go back to a different reality. And just kind of for fun. Because that's what the reality, like this book for me is kind of a break from our original reality. Like I've had other authors say, like, you should take time between books. And it's like, well, for me, this is that. And I'm really excited about this series. And yeah, I don't really do well when people tell me what to do. I'm like, I'm going to do what I want to do. Thank you very much. But I'm not sure, because I'm really excited about Keaton's book. So I might be ready to just jump right into his. But then again, a lot happens in Alexander's book, and I really can't tell you how long it's going to be. Sometimes I look at that outline and I'm like, that is a very long book. I have to split it into 2 books. I don't know. So it might be, EJ, Cassie, Alexander part 2. But the question after Alexander's book is going to be whether or not I jump back into a ribbon strand or jump straight into Keaton's story. Because there's actually going to be a lot of setup going on for Keaton's story, and there actually has been. There have been several little nuggets and things hidden about Keaton's mate in the books. So, hi, Faithlin. Been hinting about his story for a while now. I had to log out for a minute. Who is Keaton? You guys, who is Keaton? It's Lexi and Chase's son. She meets him in her little reality thing, and several people have asked who Keaton is. It's Keaton and Keith are the twins that Lexi is pregnant with at the end of the epilogue. But she meets them when she does that little virtual reality fairy thing, and he tells her who they are. So it's Keaton and Keith are the twins that come after Emma and Emmett. So Keaton is Lexi and Chase's son. That's who he is. And honestly, we might get into EJ's book, and then I might come up with an outline for one of Emmeline's kids. I don't know, you guys. Okay, see, I say that and people will freak out. I have outlines for Emmeline's kids. I'm just not sure when their book is going to come, but I'm pretty sure what's going to happen next is a reality strand or Keaton's book and a reality strand. That's what I know. What made you decide to do a story on Keaton as opposed to one of the other kids? Well, I can't really explain that without explaining who his mate is. Because Keaton is one of those where I was trying to sleep. And I told you guys that this outline came to mind and wouldn't let me sleep until I wrote this outline down, and that was Keaton's outline. That's why it would be Keaton as opposed to one of the other kids. What happens to Gamma McCann's sister's son and his parentage from book 3? Stay tuned. Remember her. That comes out. What happens to him and her son? So, which of Haley's kids find their mates as babies or toddlers or just before 18? Telling us names won't spoil things. Oh, yes, it would. I'm not telling you that. So many mates come out in like EJ's book, Cassie's book. Things are happening, people. So we have met Keaton's mate. No, we have not. There have been hints about who she is, but we have not met her, no. She is younger than Keaton. So we haven't met her, but hints about who she will be are everywhere. I have no chill. Met as in has a name or has spoken. No. Haven't named her. She has not spoken. We don't need the names of the mates. I'm not telling you when they meet, when who meets what. That's going to come out in the book, you guys. But I will say there is one of the kids that meets their mates pretty young, and poor Eric. Dylan is all about it, though. Dylan is very excited about it. Mostly because he's like, now it happens to you. So, but yeah, the kids, we'll see them meet their mates at different points. And not all of them are going to be mentioned outright because they have their own books. So, the Sirens is Keaton's mate, just guessing. We'll have to see. There are things being mentioned, guys. Sirens, kitsunes. I said I would try to get dragons in here. There are lots of options. Someone besides Wesley and Buttercup. Someone that Dylan's excited about? Yeah, someone other than Wesley and Buttercup, but it's not because it's one of his children. Do Nadine and Frank have other kids? Yes, they do. Is Danver the one who brings Dylan popcorn in Raised Cura? Danver is the one who always brings Dylan popcorn. In any and all realities, Danver is the popcorn guy. Going back to why I decided to do Keaton's story instead of any of the other kids, it's important to the story. That's why there is something going on in there that needs to come out to tell some of the other stories because of when that happens and who his mate is. So that's also why Keaton's next after our triplets. So what happened to Jessica's parents in the OG? Jessica's dad is alive. It's her mom. Her mom is dead. Her mom was killed by Rose after she married. No, before she married Errol. So, but her dad's alive. He's just kind of absent. He lost his mate, and he's just kind of, out there. Not dead, but not really living his life. So, Cassandra is a surrogate mom to her. And to me, Cassandra is a character that part of the thing is sometimes when you're in a situation, you can't see, like, you're just like, oh, that's just how things are. Like, and someone from the outside comes in and they're like, that's like emotional manipulation. This is a bad situation. You're like, oh no, it's just how things are. It's normal to you. So sometimes it takes an outsider to kind of point out that that's not okay. And even then, sometimes you're just like, you know what? I just don't have the energy to not give in to what this person wants. Sometimes I feel like that's a lot of real life. Like in families, I think you can all probably name somebody who's just that person who sometimes it's just easier to shut up and just, nod your head and be like, oh my gosh, can we move on? That's kind of the deal with that. Is Jessica's dad in their pack? No, he's not. They're not from Tennessee. In what book will Raphael find his wing? Guys, soon. I'll answer it that way. Soon we will see that happen. I love you, but you have a mischievous streak. To make that comment about Keaton just adds fuel to the fire, so intrigued. Which comment? Dang it. I'm trying. Which comment? I said so many things about Keaton. Astrid's half-sister. We didn't get a picture of her, so I think we deserve some details about her. She is in Astrid and Bjorn's book more. But so she was, the reason that they think she's dead is because her mom was in an accident when she was a child, and she was in the hospital. And by the time Remington, which is Astrid's dad, got word that she'd been in an accident, when he showed up to the hospital, they said she was dead because there were ring doctors there, and they realized that she was something else. They didn't know what, but they realized it was something. So she was raised by a ring couple, and it was realized that even though she wasn't 16 yet, she was stronger. And like our Kitsune said, she had a note from her mom that they found like in her will and stuff in case she should die, letting her know that her dad was going to come for her when she was 16. So then they knew who she was. Then they knew she was a Hakura, and they knew that, so they kind of took her out of any type of like sex slave training, basically, and decided to use her strictly for experiments because she was tough enough to take them. Let me know if that answers your question about Astrid's half-sister. Nope. Ramonsa, let me know what I said about Keaton that adds fuel to the fire for you. I have no chill about his book either. I'm really excited about the thing that just so many things. Oh, look at the fairy being fair. Hey, I have my moments. She's not a super like key player, so I don't mind telling you about Hetty. To say his story is crucial because things happen in his story that are critical to other stories or something like that. But you'll understand when it comes out, you guys. My beta blood knew fairness was the key. Yeah, it's hard to give little tidbits sometimes because there's like this huge key in his book that you're like, oh, well, that's a thing that happens. So once it's out there, it'll be out there and people will know. But until then, my hair is just so big because it's full of so many secrets. They just keep getting bigger because I keep writing more outlines. Just when I'm like, oh, I've unburdened myself with this secret alive, then it's like, oh, I have 10 more. Dang it. Anticipation is good for the soul. Yeah, there you go. Anticipation is good for the soul. Not mine, because I have no chill. I have no patience whatsoever. But yeah, Keaton's book is a lot of fun. And I understand we will be here for it. Yeah, it's because yeah, we've talked about we haven't talked about that specifically. I won't say that. But yeah, it's gonna be all the craziness that is coming up, you guys. Because the end of Raised Sakura, ridiculously crazy. The setup going on in EJ and Cassie's book, crazy. And then we have Alexander's book, which I really just cannot stress enough, is so bad crap crazy. It's just like one thing after another. So are the gods and goddesses the same in all realities? As in, does Azir know other? So no, the goddesses and gods are not the same. They each have their own goddesses and gods, but they are kind of like omnipotent. They know what's going on in other realities. But yeah, I'm literally looking at Alexander's outline, going, "Oh gosh, yeah, that happens too." Might be 3 parts. I don't know. I don't know how many chapters Dream will let me post. I might test that with with that book. So Elise will be the other point of EJ's book. Yeah, EJ and Cassie's book are gonna follow that setup, and Elise's view is really important. So Elise will be the other point of view in EJ's book, just as Cassie's mate will be the other point of view in her book. And there's some important stuff going on with him that leads to Alexander. All roads lead to Alexander at this point, with sprinkles of Keaton in there. Geez, you guys, all roads lead to Alexander. Literally, since like book 1, there have been nuggets for that. I think Keaton started in book 2 or 3. I'm pretty sure it's 2, maybe there at the end. What about Alexander's other point of view? His mate, they're all going to be the mates that are the story. Those are the point of view. So like Haley and Eric, we had Emlyn and Lucas, and Lexi and Chase. It's always going to be the mate. That's the other point of view. But yes, Alexander's the other point of view is going to be his mate. I'm sure I saw a comment on Facebook about a book with over 1,000 chapters on dreams. Okay, we might be good then, guys. It might all be in one book. My husband will just tell me I'm super wordy. That with the first book, and I was like, the second book is longer, and then I was like, the third one is longer. But he knows that. He married me anyway. He knows I'm wordy. But yeah, the other point of view in the book is always going to be the mate. So yeah, EJ is going to be Elise, Cassie will be her mate, Alexander will be his mate, Keaton's will be his mate. So yeah, I just can't tell you their names yet. Which, like I said, is going to be interesting in EJ's book, because I might have to refer to Cassie's mate at a certain point as Cassie's mate instead of his name. So, because we got to save that for her book. All the, sometimes I'm like the tangled webs that I weave in my own brain, making this harder for myself. I'm making dinner and getting so hyped about the next books, but really can't wait to find out stuff in this book. Can't wait to find out who's Cassie's mate is. Oh, you guys, I think I've said this many times, but we do know his name. It's in the books. So his name is out there. It's just not clear of that it's him. What did Haley do for Luna Marissa's Girls' Day in the OG? Oh, guys, I keep waiting for someone to request that as an outtake. We'll see if they don't. If they don't, we'll answer that question later. But yeah. But yeah, just trying to, I guess I'm trying to gauge like where I'm at in this outline for Raised Secura, because we still got like the craziness at the end of this book, which is closer to where we're at book wise. We're closer to the end. This one's not going to be as long as Lexi or Emmeline's story. So we're closer to the end of this one. And it gets really crazy, and then we jump into EJ's book and all of the setup. You guys, I won't tell you who Alexander's mate is, but the hints that will be giant flashing neon signs. I feel like no one's going to be able to dispute who it is at a certain point. And then, it gets confirmed in his book. Well, yes. We'll see. Alexander himself has feelings about it. So it's just whether or not he discusses them with his brother or his sister. Who was invited to Luna Marissa's girls' day? Esther was. Debbie was. A bunch of the old former Lunas were. Cassandra was invited, but she didn't go. But it's a bunch of former Lunas that were at her party, along with some of the moms in her pack, like that grew up with Peter and her kids. So that's who's there. You guys. The buildup and the craziness that is coming. And there's the cuteness of the stories themselves. So you have the setup going on, but you have a super cute love story. Did Haley plan a girls' day for anyone else? Not that we know of. But it's Haley. So. Because I think it would stand to reason that, like, Haley obviously planned, like, a girls' day with her brother's mates and herself. With the outtakes today, I want to hear more about Juliana. I bet she's a wild one. But Lucas would never see it that way. It's already wrapped around her little finger. She is a bit, she's a bit more fey than all her siblings, so she does have a bit more of a mischievous streak than they do. So she's funny. I think I'm most excited to see how Eric handles finding out who Cassie's mate is. He takes that in an interesting way. We'll see it play out. But how it all comes out is poor Cassie. What age will EJ be when you start his book? I'm toying with that. So there are a few things that I think we could see. But I think we might start when him and Elise are 8. Don't hold me to that. My feet are not to the fire. It's just where I'm thinking we might start with them. I got a lot of heat for starting Haley's book when she was 5 years old, and the conversations that they had together. Here's my take on that. I'm not going to write a conversation like actual 5-year-olds would have. I don't want to write it, and I don't think people want to read that. They're adult books. And even Marcus commented that they were the most mature and well-read group of 5-year-olds. Is kind of making fun of myself with that. I'm aware of how 5-year-olds talk. I'm also aware of how 8-year-olds talk, but they're going to be more mature. Nobody said anything about the guys, and Dylan was 9 at the time making all those comments. So yeah, I was about ready to jump all over some sexist people. It was like, oh, so Dylan can talk however he wants when he's 9 years old, but we're going to draw the line at the 5 and 6 year olds having mature conversations. I'm not going to write a whole bunch about, what 5 year olds talk about. It's been a long time since I was 5. I babysit. I have a child. So I do know what 5 year olds talk about. That I'm going to get off my soapbox about that now. I think they might be 8 when it starts, but don't expect it to be like normal 8-year-olds because, one, they're not human. They're supernaturals. So that's how I feel about that. I'm more excited about Dylan finding out about who Cassie's mate is. Oh, Dylan has things to say about it too. Don't you worry. Dylan has things. Dylan's actually around. He's around a lot because, like, eventually he's going to hand stuff over to Finn. So when Finn is old enough to hand stuff over, he's around Eric's pack a lot more because Buttercup is there. And, it's the land of his fairy show. So he's like, well, my daughter's here and my show is here. Where else would I be? I had no problem with any of it. My oldest was extremely advanced, and the quiet game was my friend, even though she could last about 5 minutes without speaking. Same. I was, as a child, I read a lot, and I talked a lot. So, with this series, it's like, even when they're younger, like, they're still not human children. So I really can't stress that enough. They're supernaturals. They're not different and, not from the human realm. So I'm going to need us to step out of our, like, thinking like they're humans box. Like, just, yeah, that's kind of what I thought was fun about writing about the 3-year-old Haley. She was having trouble, like, with words and couldn't say R's. It was adorable. But I wouldn't, like, we're going to go to her reality, and I'm not going to write a whole chapter with her talking like that. I can't do it. I don't think you want to read that. Like, it's cute for a little bit when people are talking to her. But like 12 pages of that, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Does anybody want to read that? Because, like, when I write it in Word, it's 12 pages. 12 plus pages, depending on how wordy I am. How much fun will it be when Cassie, her maid is a fairy? We don't know that her maid's a fairy. You guys, we don't know that. We don't know that it's not. Trying to think of something to say to that, and I can't say it because it would give something away. It's so hard. It's so hard to do all the things. Find some chill, Amanda. You can do it. But yeah. We will find out who Cassie's mate is. We'll find out who all of their kids' mates are. But yeah, we got lots of things coming up. Lots of mates. 20. There are 20 of them, guys. There's so many. And then there's Emmeline's kids. And then there's Lexi and Chase's kids. And there's everybody else that have kids that we know. I keep writing people with so many kids. Like Kaylee's nephews. She's got, like, so many nephews. I'm, like, writing myself into a tizzy with all these names. I'm like, ooh, they get a mate and they get a mate. Ooh, there's more. Fun times. Fun times. But yeah, Cassie's thing, of course, comes down in, like, dramatic fashion. And, then there's Haley, like, men. So, and Alexander's book. I'm so excited for that book, you guys. I'm so excited because there's so much that's going to come out, and it will just be, like, relief to have it all out there, because then I'm not going to be like, I can't say that because it will give that away, and I can't say that. Oh, but I can't say that. It's going to get really hard here in EJ and Cassie's book. with the things I can't say, because people will be like, it's this person, and I'll be like, we'll see. But yeah, it's gonna get hard. Oh yeah, it's gonna get hard to answer some questions on lives. I might have to go like this and answer some questions, you guys who can't see my face, because I've been told my face is very expressive. Do you have all of Haley's kids' names picked out? Yes, I do. Do you have all their names? Who are EJ, Cassie, and Alexander's guards? We will see. We've met. Well, we know how many of them there are. And we know one of their names, and we know it's Cassie's head guard. So that was in book 1. But we will see them more in their books. So they have a time of it, because not unlike Haley, they can just pop away from their guards if they don't want to be around them. So, are you contemplating turning these stories into actual books? What do you mean by that? Do you mean published books? If you mean published books, yes. I am editing book 1 right now. I have just gotten to the chapter All of Me. Threw in some Dylan, because I felt the wedding scene needed some Dylan in it. So we threw some Dylan in book 1. But yes, I am editing book 1 in hopes of submitting it a few places and seeing where that goes. If you mean, am I contemplating turning all of the kids' books into books, then yes, I have outlines for all of them. Not sure how long some of them will be. Some of them would be longer. Some of them would be shorter. But yeah, let me know if that answers your question. How do they handle the fact that the triplets just pop out as babies? I mean, they pretty much just kind of have to go with it. Their guards are just like, woe is us in our life. The triplets are gone again. Start the phone tree and find them. Will Haley and Eric have kids in this current book? We shall see. I feel like we have been setting up the conflict for the marriage conversation for, I don't know, most of the book. So we know that's coming. Do they have GPS on the kids? They tried that once. They can just they can conjure it off. So they didn't chip them or anything. Does Blade give them motivational speeches? Actually, he enjoys it. He's like, ha, you feel my pain. But yeah, he mostly finds it entertaining, because now they've kind of got Haley where she'll take him wherever she goes, but that was not his life from the time that he met her. So now he's like, you know what, I paid my dues, you paid yours. Figure it out with your baby that you're guarding. So that's kind of how Blade feels about it. But he will tell, oh yeah, they'll swap stories, and when they get older, they'll swap stories too, because the boys are mischievous. Cassie's more of the rule follower, so she doesn't give them as hard of a time. But I mean, she's still a teenage girl, so we're gonna mischief. But the boys are the ones who give them the most problems. Because I mean, they've got alpha blood and they've got fairy blood. Their guards were screwed. Do Blade and his mate plan on having children? Blade and his mate do have kids. Yes, somebody just asked the same question. Will Blade and his mate have children? Yes, they will. Not unlike Gunnar has a couple picked out. Blade and Syrian are going to do the same thing. So they'll have kids. More fairy information. How is that fairy? I directly stated they will have children. That was not a fairy answer. That was a straight-on answer. An actual answer. Unless we were talking about the triplets and Cassie and popping out with guards. How many kids and when? We'll see them. So they spread out their kids. We'll see some of them in EJ's book, and Cassie, we'll see them in the triplets book. But they'll be kids then, so they will already have had them. But yeah, they're running around. So we want more info on the kids. What about Blade and Syrian having an outline? They don't currently have an outline, but I could look into that. I'm not opposed to that. Are they full Hakura children? Yes. Blade and Syrian's kids, they're going to have them with another Hakura couple, just like Gunnar is. So they will be full Hakura kids. But yeah, we get some fun stuff going on in the Hakura realm in EJ's book because Bjorn becomes king in that book. So we have that to go to, and that's fun. Do Blade and Syrian have off periods? Yeah, they do. They do. Not often, but they do. But yeah, of course Blade and Syrian are going to have kids. Blade's like the best dad ever. Haley's like his first child. Run around after her. He's kind of like a big brother to her. But I think he's the cutest dad. So they're off periods with men or women. They're with men because they're gay. They're not bi or anything. Just like Gunnar. Gunnar's off periods are with guys. Because Hakura women don't have other men after their mates. Well, I mean, there's still Hakura women who haven't met their mates that they could be with. They're gay, so they're not into women. If they were into women, they could find them in like other supernatural groups. With the women that had their mates in the Hakura realm, like Miley. Miley's mom is a Hakura. She just hadn't met her mate yet when Xander approached her about having a child with him. So that's how Miley happened. I thought he would make a great dad and be a right side. Oh, he is. Blade is a great dad. But yeah, so many made some things happening in EJ's book. So many more names. You guys, I'm sorry. I have so many names in these books, and there are so many more coming. I'm going to run out of names. So very many names. But okay, I've got a few more minutes before I've got to go get my kiddo. So any last minute questions or information you're going to try to squeeze out of me? I'm looking between both the chats. Lucia, you're so late, but you're here, and that's what counts. Did Xavier approach Miley's mom in hopes of having a girl? So he approached Miley's mom because Miley's mom is a fighter, and she's really fierce and strong. It wasn't necessarily to have a girl, but I mean, he was hopeful that he would have a girl because he has a bunch of boys. But he wanted a child with her because she's very strong, and he thought they would have a strong child. Will there be a reality where Eric and Harper hook up before meeting Haley? I don't currently have one of those. Might be interesting. I'll have to think about that. Do Marcus and Bjorn practice medicine in the Hakura realm? They can. Like we saw, Marcus treated Haley, and Marcus and Topher and Bjorn all treated Haley, our original Haley, because she doesn't like doctors. So that is something that we will see in other reality strands where Haley only trusts those related to her, mostly Marcus and Bjorn, but, Miley brought Topher in, so she trusted Miley. So, now just because I use beta skills, squeezing doesn't mean I'm squeezing you for information. Oh, I didn't mean it that way. I mostly want to tell people the things that I know. because it's so hard being the only person that knows things. That's part of why when people ask some questions on Facebook, like I take it so personally because I know where the story is going, and I'm like, hey, you don't know, but I do, but you don't, but it's still, ha. But yeah, it gets complicated. But other times, some people are just rude. That's kind of what I came to the conclusion this week. Sometimes people are just rude. I don't know if they know they're being rude, but they're rude. Not anybody here. I'm talking about the question and answer thing from Facebook. If I felt these were rude, guys, I wouldn't do them as often. I'm not gonna lie. I love doing these with you guys. Like I said in my other post, I was disheartened at some of the things said in the Q&A by the Facebook group. But I love these chats with you guys. I think they're so much fun. You guys are not, you didn't come here to rip the book, so that's always nice. Allison, thank you for being patient with us when we get the names and other things wrong and all the other books related. But there's so many names. There's so many names to get wrong. Do all the Hakura princes just work as royals, or do they have some other job in the realm? So as we've seen, they all have businesses. So they do have other jobs. And they can run other things. Mostly for their realm, they are princes and they do their missions. But they all have businesses that they own. And yeah, like Bjorn can pop into the hospital if needed and practice medicine, just so can Marcus. Logan is an accountant as well, so he could run books and stuff like that. But yeah, they all have other stuff they could do if they want to, and they can help in when it's needed. I know Astrid and Torby train as warriors at different levels, but what do the other mates do? The other mates all fight too. All of the Hakura's mates can fight. So they also train. Astrid is mostly in charge of the training because she's the commander's daughter and now sister because her brother took over. But they all fight. Ariel specifically works with the kids a lot more. She can fight and she's a very fierce fighter, but she's more into the nurturing side. So she takes care of the kids a lot. But yeah, they all can fight. They all can train. All of their mates are strong. And now they've got Katie in there. Do the mates have jobs or just help with their mates' business? The mates all have things that they do around the realm. So like as future princesses, they have stuff that they do. They have royal duties. But they also, they can help run their businesses. They can start their own business if they want. Like Ariel mentioned, she has a daycare. So they can all have their own businesses or whatnot. And like Katie is kind of going back and forth because she's still involved with Dustin's Coven, but now she's in their realm, and she's actually learning from Astrid how to be a better fighter. But she took some classes like when she was a PI, because it's mentioned in Emmeline's book that she got hurt a few times on her first few cases. So she did actually learn how to fight. So she's actually a good fighter, but she's working with Astrid on getting better. Will you tell them what mates do what? Well, I tell you guys. Not right now because I need to go get my kid. But on our next live, we can go through what they all do. Just remind me, Amanda. Remind me to walk through what they all do. Other than, the princess stuff and, well, for Astrid, the future queen stuff. So, do Dustin, Ryan, and Katie know they are related to Emmeline Ryder in Raised Hakura? Yes. Because the Cambridges know, and Logan has known that Katie is his mate the whole time. So they knew. Well, since he was 10. But yeah, they know because the Cambridges know, and Logan told Katie. But, okay. I've got to go get my kid. It was fun coming on here and talking to you guys. Wrote several outtakes today. Let's see. Do we want to know what's coming up real quick? Real quick, I'll tell you what's coming. we've got Veronica and Titus meeting, Logan and Katie's meeting, a Dylan point of view. It's a bit more serious, guys. And then a Bexley point of view that's coming. Yeah. So that's what's coming. Tomorrow, you guys, you'll see Titus and Veronica meeting. So that was a fun one to write. But we see their first meeting. So that's fun. And then we get into Logan and Katie meeting from Logan's point of view. So that's fun too. But okay, I've really got to go get my kid now. I will talk to you guys later. Who knows when I will jump on. Going to start writing the chapter for tomorrow tonight. So fingers crossed that work does not blow up tomorrow. I swear, you guys. I keep saying I'm going to leave, and then I keep talking about something else. So work has been insane. My boss is out on maternity leave, which, yay, kiddos. Two of my coworkers had family emergencies and are now out of the office. So it's me and these other two people, and everyone else is trying to take advantage of our group because our manager is no longer there. Oh, guys, it's been rough. I've had to put on my snarky hat and come at some people and be like, we can't do that. So, but yeah, that work has been crazy. But hopefully they let me get through this next stuff because it's crazy and I want to write it and I'm going to cry. We're going to be fine. But okay, now I'm going to go. I'm really going to go this time. Bye, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. And yeah, I'll probably be chatting with people randomly on Facebook. I try to answer all those questions if I see my name tagged. But yeah, see you guys later.